The fog came early that autumn, thick as clotted cream and twice as suffocating. In the small town of Briar's Hollow, fog was nothing new. It rolled in from the marsh every few weeks. But this was different. This fog lingered. It crept into houses under door frames, slithered into barns, and clung to skin with a clammy weight. Liam Harker noticed it first while walking home from his evening job at the mechanics. He'd been fixing up an old generator for Mr. Kells, the grumpy landlord who seemed to own half the town. The fog was already curling along the ground when the shop lights flickered and died. By the time Liam locked up, the street lamps were nothing but faint halos in the haze. He told himself it was nothing, just weather, just October doing what October did. But the deeper he walked into town, the more the air seemed to hum. It was low and constant, like the faint vibration of a tuning fork pressed against bone. And then he heard it. A tune. It wound its way through the mist like a silver thread, thin, sweet, and utterly wrong. It wasn't a melody Liam knew. It didn't sound like any instrument he'd heard before, either. It was reedy, almost like a flute, but deeper, wetter, like air whistling through rotted wood. He stopped at the crossroads near the hollow's ancient cemetery. The music was stronger here. It curled in his ears and settled deep in his chest. From the fog, something moved. Liam took an involuntary step back. A tall figure emerged, shrouded in black, tattered robes. Its head was bowed, and in its hands it clutched a long pipe made of something pale, bone maybe. As it played, the fog thickened, swirling around its feet. And then the ground began to shift. The cemetery gates rattled, earth split, hands, gray, mottled, and skeletal, pushed through the soil. One by one, the dead of Briar's Hollow clawed their way free, empty sockets turned toward the piper. The next morning, Liam told himself it was a dream brought on by exhaustion, but when he came down for breakfast, his mother's face was pale and drawn. His little sister, Emily, sat silent at the table, her eyes red from crying. They found Tommy Miller in the marsh, or parts of him, their mother said. Emily shuddered and pushed her plate away. Tommy was only 9, and he wasn't the first. Children had been disappearing for months now, sometimes found days later, pale and cold, as if they'd drowned, even when they hadn't been near water. Sometimes they were never found at all. When Liam pressed, his mother snapped, "It's bad luck to talk about it." That's when Emily whispered, "It's the piper." Liam turned to her. "What piper?" "The one from the old stories, the one who comes for us when the town doesn't pay." Her mother slammed her mug down so hard tea sloshed over the rim. "That's enough, Emily." She looked at Liam with a warning in her eyes. "Don't fill your head with superstition." But that night, Liam cornered Emily in her room. She told him everything in a rush. How the piper wasn't just a story, he was real. How long ago the town had made a deal with him. Briar's Hollow had been a dying settlement, crops failing, winters too long. The piper had come from the marsh, offering a bargain, prosperity, in exchange for a yearly payment. The payment was blood. 1 child every year. "They say he leads them away with his music," Emily whispered, her eyes huge. "They go into the fog and they don't come back. Unless they break the rules." "What rules?" Emily hesitated. If someone follows, the piper has to let the child choose, go with him or stay. But no one ever follows. 2 nights later, the fog returned. It was thicker than before. Liam woke to the sound of music drifting through his open window. The same sickly sweet melody. It wrapped around him, pulling at his mind. Then he heard the creak of the front door. He ran downstairs in time to see Emily stepping barefoot into the fog, her nightdress glowing pale in the moonlight. "Emily!" he shouted. She didn't even flinch. The music swelled, and from the street the piper emerged. He was taller than Liam remembered, his skeletal hands moving over the bone flute with impossible speed. The fog curled around him like a living thing. Emily moved toward him, eyes glassy, lips parted in a faint smile. Liam grabbed the shotgun from above the mantel and ran into the street. The piper's head turned slightly, though his face was hidden by a dark hood. He didn't stop playing. Around him the fog rippled, and shapes began to form. The dead. Some were fresh, faces still intact, skin pale and waxy. Others were nothing but bones wrapped in shreds of burial cloth. They moved toward Liam in jerks and shambles, their mouths opening in silent moans. Liam fired. The nearest corpse's head burst apart, but the others didn't slow. "Let her go!" Liam shouted. The piper stopped playing. The silence was worse than the music. Slowly he lowered the flute. When he spoke, his voice was like wind through a crypt. "She is mine by the pact of your forefathers." "No," Liam said. "I'm following. She gets to choose." There was a long pause. Then the piper tilted his head. "So it be." They walked into the cemetery. The fog thickened until the world beyond it ceased to exist. The dead flanked them in silent procession, their hollow eyes fixed on the piper. Emily walked ahead, her bare feet leaving no prints in the damp earth. Gravestones loomed like jagged teeth. Some of them split as skeletal arms thrust upward. More dead joined the march. Liam gripped the shotgun until his knuckles ached. They reached the center of the graveyard, where a massive stone mausoleum stood. Its doors were carved with strange symbols, spirals, circles, and twisting lines that seemed to move when Liam wasn't looking. The piper turned to Emily. "Child, will you keep the promise made in your name, or will you break the pact and damn them all?" Emily's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Liam, then at the piper. "What happens if I say no?" she asked. The piper's hood shifted slightly. "Then the pact is broken. The dead will rise and walk until Briar's Hollow is empty." "And if I say yes?" "You walk with me into the mist. You will not suffer. You will not be alone." Liam stepped forward. "You can't make her choose like this." The piper turned to him. Under the hood, Liam saw only darkness, but he felt the weight of an ancient, endless hunger. "The choice is hers, and the time is short." The ground trembled. From the mist came the sound of more graves opening. The dead were growing unrestless. Emily's voice shook. "I don't want to die, Liam." "You won't," Liam said. "I'll get you out." He raised the shotgun and fired at the piper. The blast tore through the piper's chest. For a moment there was nothing, then a sound like 1,000 screams erupted from the fog. The piper staggered, dropping his flute. It hit the ground with a dull, sickening sound, like bone breaking.
The dead shrieked and convulsed. Some clawed at their faces, others collapsed into piles of bones and rotted flesh. The fog swirled violently, whipped into a frenzy. The piper reached for the flute, but Liam was faster. He stomped on it, shattering it into splinters. The sound stopped. The fog began to thin. The corpses collapsed where they stood. Emily clung to Liam, sobbing. "You broke it," she whispered. Liam didn't answer. His ears were still ringing, and his heart hammered in his chest. He led her back toward the house, stepping over the motionless dead. By the time they reached the street, the fog was gone. The next day, the townspeople whispered about the strange stillness